We are live in 5, 4. I don't know why I do this. We're actually live right now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Creator Town Hall. And let's not bury the lead. You can hear by the sound of the vaping in the background that I've got a special guest on today's show because she was in the thumbnail. So you know this anyway. It's Jade Starr, live
Hello.
from my room. What's going on?
Yeah, look, I loved it so much when I was there. I bought one myself. So
Where did you get the 1990s blue IKEA couch? Like that's some good work to find. Is it rare?
Fantastic furniture, actually. That's where I picked it up, and I have this wonderful PV amp here.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah. I sold the PV amp and I shipped it over to Jade so she could stick it up in her replica of the studio here. Welcome. You have not been on the show since episode 1, the very first Creator Town Hall. And for the few folks in the community here who don't know who you are and what you are, give us the 30-second deep dive, or shallow dive, shall we say.
Yeah, we'll keep it shallow. My name is Jade. I am a musician. I happen to be transgender. Don't hold that against me. And I have a YouTube channel called How to App on iOS. And I look at apps and do lots of fun stuff. And yeah, that's about it in a nutshell. I just
Very
like making
cool.
music. I like music. I like music. And I like seeing people make music. And I like encouraging people and seeing people flourish as well. So that's my story.
That is cool. Yes, so we share the very similar goals, which is that we love technology, we love iOS technology in particular, and we love to help other people create, record, and release their best music. And that's what the Creator Town Hall is all about. It was, in fact, Jade who encouraged me to change the format here. We used to do it all Q&A, and then we've moved into this where we get to rant about topics, and it's always fun to have someone to rant with when we're doing these rantings. However, we are interactive, so if you're there live, I can see you over there on the Facebooks and the Twitches and the YouTubes, and you do have a question. Make sure you put question, and if it's one for Jade, put hard question in front, and then we will... all the tough ones that I can never answer, that I'm just normally handballing over to the community, we've got Jade here to answer those here today. So
Thanks, Pete. Thanks.
Right, yeah. I doesn't like throwing you under the bus. Should we say good day to a few folks and then crack on with our first topic? What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So Alex Backus up there in Germany says it's a little bit too late. Wish you all a pleasant town hall. Yeah, I think that's the word of the day. I think it's going to be pleasant or tolerable. I like to go with tolerable.
Pleasantly tolerable.
We've got Mark up there in Montreal. Hope you're doing well this evening, Mark. Gregory O'Sullivan over in Melbourne. Also, your fellow Lockdown-E in Melbourne town. We've got Kim. G'day to Kim. We've got Hubs. Boom. Gary Hubs in the house. Joe Glenn, which means Barry Glenn's probably lurking somewhere around there. Stu Cash doing some disco dancing. Did you see, Jay, while Stu Cash is on there, the Indigo Sunsets, their first live gig in, like, forever. And, yeah, it looked like it was a fun old time.
I cried.
Nice. That's so good.
I had tears in my eyes. It was just to see them come from last year and then just see them on stage. I'm starting again. I actually cried. I had a massive grin on my face and I had tears in my eyes. It's just awesome.
It was fantastic. And maybe with the permission of the boys, maybe in the midpoint of the show, maybe we'll play a little bit of that live footage. That would be cool. Tom Richel, our wonderful moderator, is here, making sure everyone plays nicely. Good to have you in the house here, Tom. And Friggsy from up there in Ireland. So don't say that we are not global here. We got people, we got representations across the US, Canada, Europe, the UK, and of course here in Australia, where we are hanging out here today. Let's crack into our first topic, shall we? And I've talked about this ad nauseum in the last 3 weeks on this show, but because you're here as well, and I know you are an iPad Pro user and a Mac M1 user, the iPad Pro M1. What's your hot take on this now that it's out, now that we're starting to get the reviews, now that Patrick from the GarageBand Guide has picked one up? Where is this, and what's your thoughts? Are you getting one?
Absolutely right now, could not give a toss about it because it doesn't make any difference to me as an iOS music creator or whatever I'm creating until they release pro apps. Like, I agree with Patrick's video 100%. Watched it yesterday. If you're on a 2018, 2020 and they don't release pro apps, I think you got rocks in your head to go and get one. But hey, it's your money. You do what you want. You're only getting an extra gig of RAM if you're getting the 8 gig, anything under a terabyte. If you're getting the 16 gig for a terabyte and there's no pro apps, wow, you've got a whole bunch of processing power for the same old apps. But hey, if WWDC proves right and Barry Smith finally gets his wish, that Logic comes out finally, okay, then bang, I'm in. I will buy an iPad 2021 because I want Logic. I want LumaFusion, and I want multiple tracks, and I want to have all that power. I'll definitely be getting the 1 terabyte 16 gig. No ifs or buts.
Yep. I'm in a very similar boat. I was underwhelmed when it was released. It's very cool that they're sticking an M1 chip in an iPad, but it's not that. Just like when the Mac M1 came out, and we thought the dream was it's an iPad in a Mac, and you can run every iPad app on the Mac. You can't. And I think when people first saw the M1 in an iPad, they did the same flip flop. They went, "Oh, it's just going to run Mac OS on an iPad. How good will that be?" It's not. So until we find out, until Buff Cook gets up there and breaks some boards over his knees and tells us that we're actually going to get, or Craig Federici more likely will tell us that we're going to get some epic new Pro apps on the new Pro iPad. Yeah, I don't see a use case for it. Unless, again, if you're on an iPad Pro first or second gen, I reckon this is a good jump. I think you might as well get this over the 2018, 2020. Or if you're on an iPad Air or one of the old 2017, 2018 iPads, yeah, it's for the bang for buck, especially at that entry-level 11-inch price point. You're getting 8 gigs of RAM and you're getting 256, 512 of storage. Yeah, that's the iPad to buy right now. But if you're like me and Jade, you got a 2018, 2020, this will do nothing that your 2018 or 2020 won't do.
Even the last iPad Air, which was pretty much on an even scale with the iPad Pro, is pretty high powerful. I don't think you need to, it's a pretty powerful machine as well. But hey, anything below, the first gen iPad Pro or any other iPad below that, hey, look, if you want to upgrade, trust me, your optimizing performance will be a thing of the past. It totally will be. I do believe they're going to release Pro apps. It is the year. They've all the arrows are pointing there. I think people who are some of the pundits who are going like, oh, there's going to be a new MacBook with this, and there's going to be an M1X, and I think everyone's just getting a bit too excited. I think we need Pro apps first. They're definitely more interested in the iPads this year. Yep. So look, if I don't get it, going to be more disappointed than an update of iOS.
Well, it's a good segue because one of our other topics was the WWDC predictions. So if you don't know WWDC, it's a Worldwide Developers Conference, which doesn't really tell you what it is. It's another Apple event, basically. It's turned into Apple event, the third one. They have their iPhone event, they usually have an iPad event, and they have the WWDC. Now, traditionally, it's been around the software and developers. No, sorry, that was Microsoft guy, wasn't it? But yeah, it's been around developers and around, of course, Mac and iOS in particular, but also watchOS and tvOS. And if you can put a word in front of OS, Apple have done it. Now, there's lots of stuff flying around here. I just read the 9 to 5 Mac article here, which is actually quite a good one. That runs through the roundup of everything Apple could announce at WWDC. People have jumped into this and looked at the reflections
I did
in the
it
glasses.
Too. I spun the reflection around to read it, and it's I think it was like a recipe or something. I was really disappointed. I did it.
It's not logic.
I'm a mark. I admit it. I'm an iOS mark. Whatever.
Obviously it's an all online event. It's a virtual event this year, which means it's not going to be live. It's going to be the Apple pre-record, which I don't mind. Like, at least you don't have to watch any epic fails, although they were always fun when they'd get up and something would not work and Steve Jobs would get angry and throw stuff at people. But what are you hoping for, and what do you think? What's your crystal ball prediction of best case scenario, and then realistically, what do you think we're going to hear and see?
Look, I honestly think Apple are very predictable at this point, and because I have a developer's account, I normally do watch the week of workshops and stuff that they have, so that's going to be really interesting. I want to see what is going on with iOS 15, because some of my big concerns at the moment with iOS, apart from Pro apps and stuff, iOS is a massive concern for me. It's something that we chat a lot about in Clubhouse, with the issues that are going on for certain people with the core audio and it's especially in the Pro iPads, which is utterly disappointing. So I'm really going to be following that closely to see, hopefully, are they going to fix the core audio issues that are going on between core audio and the interfaces? I do believe there will be a hardware announcement. There's normally one big hardware announcement. They might, which is normally not going to be released on that day. It's coming soon. They normally have something like that. It's, it could be the big their Mac Pro, the big cheese grater with M1 in it. I don't think they're going to have anything to release on the day hardware. I think this is, after all, and people. This is what's interesting, Pete. Every year we get to WWDC, and it's like everyone just instantly forgets every other year and goes, oh, they're going to release all these hardware things. It's a developers conference. It's going to be a lot of software developers getting up, talking crap. We're probably going to have a game developer, and it won't be Epic this year. No way.
That wasn't on the list, but we should chat that, because that's an interesting one for those that haven't heard the news there.
So they will have people up there. I'm guessing Luma Fusion will be up there. Luma Touch will be up there. They'll be big noting what's going on. They'll be talking about developers. They'll be talking about how much money developers make, all that kind of stuff. And that's where hopefully they do come out with these pro apps. It's got to be about pro apps. It seriously has to be, or they are missing the biggest opportunity of all time. And I don't want to see that happen. You know what? And I'd love for them to talk about audio stuff, because I feel like we're getting left behind. We really are getting the dirty end of the stick at the moment. And, the iPads are great for drawing and all that stuff, with the trusty Apple Pencil and all that. But I don't see a lot of stuff about audio, and there's a hell of a lot of us who invest a hell of a lot of money, and I think we deserve some respect my authority.
Give us, exactly. Just give it to us. So there you go. As you know, we've got people that do like to ask this question, and I'm going to ask the audience here. So I want a yes or a no. Will Apple announce Logic for iOS at WWDC? Let's see what percentage of folks here think yes versus no that are watching live. Just give us a yes or a no in the chat. We'll give you a moment to do that while we continue on. For me, I think that actually I'll leave that question up there. For me, I think that something's got to happen. Apple always have a bit of a roadmap, and Apple don't do anything for no reason. And yes, they could future-proof themselves by putting 16 gig of RAM and an M1 chip in an iPad. But if they don't do anything here, they're just simply not going to sell them. Like Patrick and yourself and myself are not the only people. Some actual respected commentators are also saying, sorry, Patrick's respected, but you and I, we just throw stuff out there. But people are saying the exact same thing, that there is no overwhelming reason to upgrade a 2018 or 2020 iPad Pro. So if iOS and iPad OS, if they really want that to go to the next level, they need to announce something there. I don't know that we're going to get much else in terms of hardware. Again, as you say, it's not a hardware show. We may get a Mac Pro, or we may get some sort of, it'll probably be talk about whatever the next chip is. So the M1X or the M2 chip that may go into a Mac Pro. But I don't think it's going to be pre-sale today and shipping in 2 weeks of anything. I'll be super surprised if there's a single product that is announced with a ship date. Now, I'm happy to be very wrong, but that's my take.
I'll go out on a limb and even say, if they release these, the two Final Cut and Logic, they will come with a subscription bundle.
Ooh, yeah, that's probably the that's part 2 of that question, isn't it? Would you buy it if it was a subscription?
What would be wonderful if they gave us the option? Because look, I hate subscription models as much as everybody, but if they were able to incorporate this into Apple One, I wouldn't mind so much, because I'm already paying Australian dollars, which is like zero to the rest of you, $39 a month to get all my services. And if they included on top of that Apple One Pro, and it gave you options to these pro apps, sign me up. If it was an extra $20, put me in. I'd have to do it, because I just want to have Logic. I want to be able to have something as sturdy as GarageBand, but with the extra stuff. Give me that.
That is, you've just convinced me in 30 seconds that is going to happen. I don't think there's any other way, because I keep thinking it through, and I'm like, they can't sell it for $29. They can't sell it for $49. They can't, and that's the way they're going to go. Like, look back to the very earliest days. Like on the Mac, there was the what was it called, the Home Suite or whatever, that had GarageBand and iMovie and all that stuff. That was bundled free, but that was a hardware play. That was to sell hardware. Nowadays, everyone has the hardware. to sell the Pro hardware, they would have to have a Pro bundle. And the subscription, like they are in the subscription game. TV, games, fitness, like data, everything is subscription now, and it's makes sense. It's the whole service industry, and you go, do you want revenue once, or do you want recurring revenue forever? Everyone these days wants recurring revenue forever.
We're already trapped in it. We're already trapped in it anyway. They've been priming us up, lubing us up for it, so here it comes, and we're ready to go. Lubemobile.
Mobile. Got off track. So Joe Glenn says no. Let's go through this. Joe Glenn says no. Gregory says no. Russ says, hope not. I bet me bloody house on it. I do. Patrick Chandler says, no. I know I've been banned from accents, but I'm breaking my bail. Mark says yes, but see my previous. Oh, Mark must have had after iOS 15. Yeah, I think it'll definitely be an iOS or iPad OS 15 play. Definitely. Castaway Studios, hello to you. Also enjoying lockdown there in Melbourne, I'm sure. Probably not. Patrick Chandler says no. I think I said that already. Yes, it'll be yes, but no somehow. Tom's hedging his bets. He's sitting firmly on the fence. I love it. And Tom says, I really hope they don't make it. They don't make me buy a subscription a year. I know. See, a lot of people got onto the Mac M1. A lot of people started using the Pro apps and got the free trial, and they've just bought Logic. So yeah, I think there's other people that are exactly like you.
It wouldn't surprise me that they would offer a 3-month free trial for everybody as well. They do have a tendency to do that with the games. They did it with Apple TV. They've done it with quite a few of them. So just to entice you and get you in, hook you in, get in the cheek, and then you're in. And then before long, there's that 20 extra bucks going each month, and you're in, baby.
Oh, it's sad. I must admit, I found out that I have an Apple Music subscription that I forgot I had. Like that's how bad this subscription stuff is getting. That there was just another $9.99 a month charge that I saw on my card. I'm like, oh wait, I forgot to cancel Apple Music like a year ago. I'm like, there you go, Apple. There's $120 that you didn't really need.
Pro tip, folks: if you sign up to a subscription, check the date and use that magic little app on your iPad or iPhone called Calendar. And just set a date in there and set a reminder for the day before. Just do it. It's real. It's there for you. They give you the app.
Yeah, and if you're trying something new, here's a pro tip, is if you sign up and then immediately cancel within iOS, you get to do the 30 days and it will auto-cancel after 30, and then you have to manually go in and re-subscribe. So if you don't want it to be opt-in, you want it to be opt-out, then you can actually flip it around. And if you're signing up for that latest and greatest streaming platform or whatever you're doing, do it that way. But if you want to keep it, you're pretty sure you want to keep it, but you want to make sure you keep your tabs on it, then just a monthly reminder the day before, you can make your choice. Hello to Vortex over at Mobile Music Pro. You are right.
G-Man.
That, auto modeling apps, Cubasis, and several other larger products. Yeah, I think the iOS community as a whole is starting to accept that not every app is 99 cents. Not every app is going to be $1.99. There are apps that are worth... I know that on your show today, you showed a bunch of apps. You showed the IK Multimedia Sample Tank. You showed MIDI Strummer from 4 Pockets. You showed a bunch of apps that aren't exactly the cheapest, but you pretty much do get what you pay for. So there is a case for that, isn't there? That pro apps are priced higher and people are buying them.
Absolutely. Look, you can't have your cake and eat it. It just is life. If you want better apps and you want these better experiences, higher quality, there is a point that we're heading to right now where there will be a rise in iOS apps and perhaps a drop in Mac and PC apps, and they will at some point get to a middle ground. And I know you can complain and scream on your lawn as much as you want, but like this stuff don't come free. And, we already have developers going under all the time because people expect them to do updates for free and all of that stuff. But I think what I try and say on my show too, and I know, look, I do a show every day where I'm telling you to spend money, and that sucks. But you don't have to have every app, right? No. You really don't. And I know it can get... really, it's kind of like peer group pressure at school. You see all these apps, but that's why we do the shows. So you can hopefully just get the things you need. And look at Russ. Russ is a perfect example. He's on my show yesterday. We did the behind the song. he has a whole bunch of older apps, and each time he does a song, he goes back and finds an app that he may not have, or about 3 apps that he hasn't used, and uses that on the next song, and maybe a new app that he got maybe this week, or just go back and revisit the old stuff, because you'll be pleasantly surprised. Absolutely. You've got all these gems sitting in your iOS saved stream in the App Store that you've forgotten about, because every week there's a new app. It's a shame we move on so quickly because our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter.
It's all about the new hotness and new shiny things, and we'll talk later about YouTube as well, and about the YouTube vanity metrics and subscribers and other things. And it's kind of the same with that. Like, people focus so much on the new thing and I want to get new subscribers, I want new apps, I want new hardware. Whereas really, it's nurturing the stuff you already have. So it's exactly the same thing, just like you do with the wonderful communities that we have here with the people that have been around a long time. It's the same with the apps that you have. You'll go back and be blown away. I haven't even scraped the surface of like some of the audio kit apps. Like, I know a lot of people love those things, and I've used them like twice. So I've got those sitting there that I can go back and play with. I pull out Essential Sax every now and then and go, oh yeah, that's right, I really dig this. Turn up my love knob to full and just play with my Essential Sax. It's amazing. It's good fun. But and you literally don't need it all. I was having a conversation on, I think it was GarageBand users Facebook group. Shout out to our GarageBand users friends. And someone said, I've found that my mixes are getting worse the more of these third-party plugins I download and use. And I had to say, you know what? I got to a point where it was diminishing returns. I thought that by buying Shimmer and then throwing that on my vocal, it would suddenly sound amazing. But the problem is, I was layering that up on top of a bunch of other things. And then it wasn't until I paired everything back and went, hang on, what do I actually need on here? Like, you get to this temptation point where you just want to stack and layer as many plugins as possible and think that that's going to be the holy grail and the fix. And it actually sounds worse. So sometimes just going back to basics and using your stock plugins can be cathartic, and it can actually get you better results.
Oh, absolutely. Strip it back, folks. Strip it back as much as you can. Open a garage project. As soon as we finish this show, everybody, open a garage project, a GarageBand project that you kind of thinking sounds like it's POV, it's horrible, it's pants. And take out all of the effects, take out all of the plugins, any of the vocals, take out all the compression, and just put some reverb on it, and have a listen to the mix, and I guarantee you it'll sound fantastic. And then just add a little bit here and there, because the overkill, it's a common thing. It's taken me a long time to learn to do that. But your mixes are so much better. I've really got a lot from working with Kev on this new album. Kev Hart puts together these songs with Desir, and he's got virtually nothing on there. Virtually nothing. He uses 2 tones for tone bridge, and the sounds are incredible. And I think he uses wider. So that's all he uses, wider and 2 tones from tone bridge, and everything else. There's just nothing else on it. Tiny bit of EQing, and I'll tell you what, I mixed down one of those songs, which you played on YML and on Hippie Show the other day.
Yep.
I did nothing to them. All I did, and the vocals was just 4 vocal tracks just with a little bit of reverb. Not even any compression. And it sounded mint. Mint.
Yep. No, it's totally true. And I think you're an advocate of this, and I know I am, that I think a lot of people just assume that you have to add things. They record a vocal and they say, oh, wow, this vocal I just recorded sounds great. Time to add delay, reverb, compression, and EQ. It's like, no, add what the track needs. The track will tell you when you listen to it what it needs. And sometimes, secret, it needs nothing. If you record it well enough and you get it right at the source and you put in a good performance, it's the performance that makes a good song. It's not the gear, and it's definitely not the plugins and effects. I think we get very carried away with that sometimes because it feels easy and you feel like you're doing things by adding stuff on. Sometimes it's completely redundant and not needed.
100%. Look, another thing I'll say that I do when I'm mixing down songs is I always remove things. That's the key to mixing. Like, going through and removing things and seeing what they sound like without them. Because you've got that little, especially if you're using GarageBand or Cubase, whatever you're using, you have that little button next to each effect where you can just press the button to turn it off, turn a bunch of them off, and just listen to that mix. Less is more, and it applies to everything. And you will be so surprised at how good your recordings are. And I promise you this, like a lot of the times, you will find that everything you've added just turns it into mud. And there's no amount of mixing you can do to get that mud out of it, and no amount of mastering. Because, on my Patreon every week we have like these 2 to 3 hour shows where people send me their songs just for being a Patreon, and I master songs, and so many people are from the Patreons who send stuff. The songs are just so they're not full of garbage. They're not full of effects like Russ and Cy, Tom. They just don't clutter everything up. So it's such a breeze to master, and it just ends up being a much better result. Less is more. Just remove the stuff. And it's the same with the apps. Only buy the things that you think you're going to get value from.
Yep. Someone wise said, do what makes you happy, and buying all the apps is not going to make you happy at the end of the month when you look at your credit card bill. So
I'll just say one more thing. I worked at American Express for a long time, and one of the things they taught us there was that with their credit cards and charge cards, they have features, right? But if somebody's advertising a feature, but not giving you what the benefits are of that feature, it's not a feature. Mm-hmm. If you're not getting a benefit from it, there's nothing featuring about it. Like, it's worthless. So if you're not getting a benefit personally out of it, you don't download it specifically for something that you're going to get value from, leave it. Go spend your money elsewhere, or go spend your money on an ice cream. Like, really.
Exactly. Yeah. Buy a coffee, buy a beer, buy an ice cream.
Just buy Black Hole.
Yeah, but there you go. Just own Black Hole and Shimmer, and then you're done. There you go. Just stick them on everything. Booba Bass Meme, hello to you. I don't think we've said good day to you yet. That happened to me earlier today. Once I stripped a bunch of stuff off the bass track, it was the exact tone I wanted, right? And we've all been there. We've all done that. I advocate mixing as you go. So I don't think you should go back completely to zero on everything, because if you feel like something needs a reverb, add the reverb and get there. But sometimes if you get to the end and you're just pulling your hair out, like I've done it far too much, obviously, you're pulling your hair out because you got this muddy, just ploppy mix, then sometimes a faders down mix can be the best thing for it. Just turn off all your plugins, faders to zero, and because that's the other thing. People forget that mixing is the number one thing you need to get right in mixing is balancing your instruments. And so many people I see will just throw compression on something to make it louder instead of turning up the volume dial. You can actually mix it. Getting a good static mix to begin with should be your first. That should be 80% of it, is getting your volumes. Like, volume mixing and automation should probably be 80% of your mix. The 20% of that sprinkling of fairy dust, that's where your reverb and your compression and your EQ and your delay and all those effects come in. Because if the static mix isn't right, everything you add is going to exacerbate the problem. I know we've made this point in 5 different ways, but I really hope that people don't think that we're here sprouting that you have to have all the gear and all the plugins. You really don't. You need to practice. You need to work on your craft and practice creating music. Yeah,
and another thing too, if you go through the history of popular music, things that have been successful, and you will always find the same formula within the music: stripped back verses, and the choruses that add a couple of extra layers and maybe an extra vocal layer. This stuff ain't rocket science. This stuff has given people millions of dollars throughout the entirety of the music industry, right? So whatever you do have, and that like with a mix, not only is it like effects and plugins, but it's instruments, because and it's not a bad thing to overcrowd a song if you're writing a song and filling it full of all these parts. But the same thing applies when mixing down. Don't be afraid to pull stuff out. You're not foolish for it, or you're not an inferior musician for pulling something out. No. You're actually a better musician for being able to identify that everything's too crowded. And, if ever you go into a studio with a pro engineer, they will always tell you, there's too much going on here. You need to strip back these things. And if you are in a pro studio with an engineer who's not telling you that, take your money elsewhere. Spot on. Love it. And by the way, Jade did mention her Patreon. We both have Patreons, and hers can be gotted down there, patreon.com/Jade Starr. Just $1 per month, and you get access to all the cool stuff and all the live shows that Jade does on top of her daily how-to app on iOS show. And if you want to come and be a patron of the channel here, it's patreon.com/PeteJohns. We keep things super simple. We don't want to make life difficult for anyone. We have a question. It doesn't say hard question, so I'll have to answer it too. But no, it's actually directed at you. So
This is actually something we were going to talk about because, today, so Tom and Co, who is one of my wonderful patrons, shout out to you, Tom, really enjoyed your session on Sample Tank acoustics earlier today. I'm on a never-ending quest for decent electric virtual guitars on iOS. Are Sample Tank's electric guitars any good?
I've only played with them for a little bit, but from that, no. Currently there are no electric guitars that sound good as MIDI, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. No matter what the app, no matter the cost, I have not come across anything that sounds good for an electric guitar. Acoustics, definitely. Look, it's one of the things that's definitely missing, and I would love to have a developer do something even like a heavy metal guitar generator with a whole lot of sampled metal riffs or chords or notes. Because, hey, look, we've got romplers everywhere. We've got audio modeling and doing these fantastic brass instruments and string instruments. It's got to be you've got to be able to do it because there are PC apps that do it. So I think it's only going to be a matter of time on iOS till we do get it. Especially if we head to these pro places and there's going to be more storage on iOS, there's more RAM. So I think it's coming, but currently I don't think for electric guitar there's anything that cuts it. But definitely for acoustic, the one I looked at today on Sample Tank, look, it's got a price tag here in Australia. I think it's $38 for Sample Tank. That's Australian, like 24 US. And then the add-on for American acoustic is another like $20 odd. So you're looking at $50. But then again, you're looking at that for something like Ravenscroft. And,
true.
You
get what you pay for.
Yeah, exactly. You want something high quality. And I know it is Interapp Audio and people go, nah. Get over it. You can still make amazing music with Interapp Audio.
Nah? I think I do sometimes.
It's still incredibly stable, Interapp Audio. You can't record MIDI with it, unfortunately. But that just means you have to play better.
Right. See, I think I think I'm actually turning on the whole Interapp Audio. Probably just in time. They'll just deprecate it, and then I'll be like, yeah, I actually dig Interapp Audio now. But I think there's certainly something to be said for getting it right at the source, as we talked about in the last segment. And yeah, the problem with AUV3 and being able to record straight in is you spend so much time tweaking and changing and trying again and doing a third and fourth take. There's nothing of that organic stuff because you're like, it's about right and I'll just fix it later. But sometimes you forget to go fix it, or sometimes you spend 3 times as long in that MIDI piano roll editor, especially if you're in Cubases, because good Lord, that thing is... I love Cubases and I've started enjoying using it in my last series, but... Russ was right. That MIDI piano roll editor is a dog. I know. I haven't touched it since, but I did like using it.
Bad.
I will honestly. I'm honestly going to use it to master my next song. So I think my workflow is now going to be GarageBand, record everything, do a basic mix down, stem out to Cubases, do a final mix and a master there. But anyway, I digress.
The other thing about Interapp Audio, can I just finish on Interapp Audio?
Yeah.
The really good thing about it is, look, I know we're not all playing gigs and stuff, and we have to learn these songs perfectly, but Interapp Audio gives you the perfect opportunity to really learn what you're playing, right? And this is the thing, a lot of people are saying to me about the Desir album I'm working on with Kev. When's it coming out? It's taking so much time. Here's the deal, right? I don't just want to sit there and do the vocals and read them off a computer screen and have that be the vocals on the album. Because you know what? It's going to sound like I'm sitting there in my bedroom reading off a computer screen. I want to know the lyrics in my head, so when I record them into into GarageBand, it sounds like it's naturally flowing. And that's the beauty about Interapp Audio. You have to learn how to play the part. You can't go back. There's no MIDI for you to, correct and fix these things, which a lot of the time can be a drawn-out experience and take more time than what you want. So actually sit there, use the Interapp Audio. It's a lot more stable, and you're going to get a better performance, and you'll know your part, because you never know. You could be like the Indigo Sunsets, and a year later, playing shows. You just don't know.
Spot on. I agree, and Casey Jones makes a good point here. It says, I've always felt that if something is not like how I like it, if possible, I'll just try to record it again and get another take. I've wasted too much time in post when I should have gone again, and I hear and see that all the time. The amount of times it's so much quicker and easier to just do another take. You got a 3-minute song, just spend 3 minutes or do 3 or 4 takes and just get that best take you can, because you will save yourself probably an hour of post mixing and trying to, EQ out that one little bit where it wasn't right, just change your mic position and record again. If you're getting too many mids, you're probably recording at, say, acoustic guitar, you're probably recording at the wrong end of the guitar. You probably just need to tweak your mic and push it a little bit towards the top.
12th fret.
12th fret, record again, and you don't have to touch the EQ. You don't have to spend all that time trying to remove something that shouldn't be there in the first place. All right, we've beaten that dead horse.
Isn't that a funny thing? I've seen so many videos on YouTube, Pete, of people like showing you how to record acoustic guitar. Yeah. And I could do it. I could do it in a short on YouTube, and just it's me sitting there, hold up the guitar, and go 12th fret, mic in front there, goodbye. Like that's it.
It is it, and yeah, like, it does sound
science.
easy, and it is, and yeah, like you need to. It depends on your room, and it depends on your guitar, and yeah, blah blah blah. But it will take you no time if you just trial and error. There you go, 12th fret, right there. Aim it at the 12th fret, about a foot away. Record, go. Try not to move too much, and don't wear buttons. Don't have a button-up shirt, otherwise you'll
take your bracelets off and your rings.
Yeah, no dangly bits. That's my motto in life. Boom. No dangly bits. Here's why I'm really sad. Like Vortex just made a point that hopefully we will get some guitars soon. If we look at our buddy Mike over at Creative Source, the amount of virtual guitars that you can get, the realistic VST guitar instruments, the audio modeling is there. Someone just needs to grab this and put an Ample Sound. What are you doing? Come on, Ample Sound. You'd make some amazing VST plugins for guitars. Just port one of them. Just give us one good electric guitar. You've got like 15 of them on PC. We just want one. So it's possible. That's
and
hope.
The iPad Pro's fully capable now. It's fully capable. You're 16 gig of RAM. We're ready to rock. Let's go, developers. If you're watching, let's go. Bring us some guitar stuff. We need it. We're desperate. There's too many keyboard apps already. I'm over it.
Yes, and and do try and make them AUV3 because even though Interrupt Audio is fine, Apple have said it's being deprecated. Like it is going away. It's just a matter of when they choose to do it. And
exactly.
Hopefully that's not the announcement. Let's not let WWDC say we finally decided to unify into AU plug. No, let's be honest. They're not going to talk to that level of detail about audio, but there'll be something in the notes on day 3 of some audio developer thing where they're like, oh, and we're deprecating.
No,
what do you say?
Stop it, stop it. You're wishing it into existence. No. No.
People I can just imagine Russ there like, I've spent 5,000 quid on these. What are you doing?
Imagine how much money we're going to lose. All those apps that are going to disappear. They would get a massive backlash for it. That's
which is why I think they're sitting on their hands because it would be a big thing to do, and the developers have pretty clearly voted with their feet and said, "Hey, we're not moving." Because I thought by now, honestly, a lot of especially people like IK Multimedia, I thought they would have really started pushing a lot of stuff over into AEV3. It's been very slow to happen, but it may just be because they don't have an end date. I think as soon, what's more realistic is that Apple will just say something like iOS 16. You've got another like 18 months to get your stuff together, and
it'll
then
be a slow rollout.
Change because it can't be if they just snap. Even though they've already warned it until they give that date. That's what will put the smoke up the developers because then you've got no choice. You don't want to be selling a product that's...
It was 2 years ago they warned it.
It was 2 years ago. Yes, it was iOS 13. So it's been a while. It will happen eventually.
It's been a while.
What's our next topic? I knew this would happen. I'm like, I've only got like 6 topics, Jade, but that's all right. We both talk incessantly, so we'll be fine. We'll be able to get there. I want your view on this one. So, as you may know, Apple and Facebook are not best of buds right now. And for those that haven't followed the story, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version, which is this. Facebook want your data. So the way that Facebook sell advertising, I know, right? The way Facebook sell advertising is that they track you across your phone. So if you grab your phone and you're on Facebook or Instagram and then you go to Twitter or you go to YouTube or you go to Safari or you go to Google Chrome and you search stuff, they are tracking that data. It's not attached to your name, but they just give you a user number and they say iOS user number 4612.b. And then every time you go back to Facebook, that's where those creepy ads come in where they're like, hey, would you like to buy the IK Media iRig Pro IO? We know you looked at it over on Safari yesterday, so let's advertise that. So that's the Facebook model. And as creepy as that sounds, they do that because they can sell that. So IK Multimedia, when Facebook go to them and say, we can put you in front of 1,000 people, they'd go, okay. But if they say, we can put you in front of 1,000 people who have viewed your product somewhere else in the last 24 hours, IK Multimedia, and sorry to pick on them, I'm sure it's not just them, whatever company it is, will pay more for that advertising. So what Facebook is saying is the reason Facebook and Instagram are free is that we can target ads at you based on your preferences. That's more valuable to every company that wants to buy ads, so therefore we can give you the service for free. If we can't collect your data, maybe we can't give you the services for free. So that's Facebook. Apple came out with iOS 14.6. Well, was it 14.5? It was 14.5, wasn't it?
It was, 14.5 was the one.
The second to most recent update. It's hard to keep up these days. So they came out and they said, okay, what we're going to do is every time you go to an app that is doing this tracking, we're going to get it to ask you if you give it permission to do that. So now when you go into all of your apps, if you've updated, you would have been getting this thing saying allow app to track or don't allow app to track. If you say allow, everything works exactly as it did before. If you say don't allow, what that will do is it won't create that anonymous user, so therefore it won't be tracking you across your other apps and then sending that information back to Facebook and Instagram so they can send targeted ads. You'll still get ads, but instead of getting an ad for the iRig Pro IO, you might get an ad for Flowers by Irene that you have to then wade through. So I have my own opinions, but I'm going to throw it over to Jade for your hot take on this situation. Whose side are you on? Are there even sides? What do you think of Facebook and Apple here?
All right, so I think what Apple are doing is the right thing, right? And I think we should have the option. First of all, we definitely should have the option. It is our privacy, our details that are going out there. Now, I know it's not like, our phone numbers and all that stuff that's going out there. As you and me have talked many times, if it's free, you're the product, suck it up. It's not new. This has been going on a long time. And so if it's still affecting you, I don't know what to tell you. Apple's given you the option now. Now, I don't mind the Facebook. When I first opened Facebook and it came up and said, would you like to turn off the tracking? I said, no, let's leave it, because there's been many things that I've purchased through the advertising that's come up. Now, back in the old days on Facebook, there was a lot of garbage that used to come up, which I would have to hide and go, this is rubbish. I don't need this. So over the last 2 years, there's definitely been more relevant things. And sure, it's coming from me looking at eBay or me doing searches on Safari. And I would much rather be targeted with things that I'm actually looking at. Now, the apps that I did turn off, and I'm going to pick on one specifically, this Me Too photo app. And look, here it is. Would you like to track? No, because all it is like adding cutesy little things to your photos. Why the hell do you need to track me? You don't. So I think where it comes in, I think everybody should do is go through. There's a whole lot of apps that really shouldn't be tracking you, because Apple's fenced wall of the App Store has copped a lot of criticism over the years for how tight it is, and Android's much looser and all this stuff. Whatever side of the fence, I don't really care. But Apple still does let a lot of apps slip through the net because, hey, they're only human and they can't check everything. And there are still a lot of apps that are on the App Store that blow up and get really popular that are tracking your data that don't need to. So go through the apps that don't need to and make sure you turn those off. But anything that is offering you advertising that is relevant to you, leave it there, because you may miss something really important. You may miss an instrument or an app that's come out that everybody else is talking about, and you may miss that. So I can't see the harm in it. My opinion on Facebook on other things is crap, because their transparency. Look, I don't care about that stuff. Their transparency with me as a user, as a content creator, that's a whole different story. Like uploading videos and stuff, and what's DMC, what's restricted. They're shocking on that. I would rather they sort that out instead of this crybaby stuff that's going on with Apple, because ultimately Facebook should be giving us the option of this as well. Yeah. If they were decent, that they're not. Yeah. But hey, Mark Zuckerberg really likes to smoke meat. Go and look it up on YouTube. There's a video of him that went for 2.5 hours of him sitting in a backyard going, I'm just smoking some meat. I love smoking meat. And he doesn't blink the whole 2 hours. That's a bigger concern.
Especially as a vegetarian, I find that very offensive.
He doesn't blink, man. He's from another planet.
Farewell to those that are watching us live on Facebook. The stream will be ending any moment now, so we'll see you around the show. Come over to YouTube. We talk nicely about them. If you want the practical version of this, by the way, if you've missed the whole thing, I can't even show you because of the contrast of the camera. But if you go to your settings and you scroll down and you tap on privacy, you can then tap on the tracking. Now, keep in mind, there's location services, which is different. This isn't tracking your location. We talked about it on last week's show. It's tracking your movement around the apps. There you go. Jade's got it going on. So hit the tracking button, and then you can actually either turn it completely off, so that means no apps can even request it at the top there, as you can see, or you can choose each individual app. There you go. Facebook are not tracking you.
I'll turn it back on. There we go.
So I currently have Facebook, Twitter, and Pokemon Go tracking me right now because you got to have your Pokemons. So that's where we are with Apple, and but there'll be lots more about this, Apple and Facebook, because again, the weird thing is that Apple have said no, it's our privacy, it's our users' privacy. That's hard to argue with. Facebook have said, well, if we don't have the ability to do this and enough people opt out, we won't have enough money to provide the service. And I'm like, I don't believe that. I think it's not that they won't have enough money, they just won't be making the level of profits that they are currently hoping to make. So there's a difference between not having a viable business. Facebook had a viable business when they weren't even making money. Like there's plenty of platforms that are not making money. Facebook just happened to work out that by tracking people, by having super targeted ads and then selling those super targeted ads at a premium to other companies, then they make a lot more money. It's not rocket science here. It's just what it is. And like we say, if it's free, you're the product. It's as simple as that.
I think Facebook are overestimating the muggles who buy iOS devices, who are the majority, who have no idea of any of the settings in any of the iOS of their devices. I mean, even if these people are opening up these apps now on their latest device and going, oh, tracking, I don't even know what that is. I'll just select allow. Because if you go into an Apple store, I'm sure any of you who are in the chat have been there, and how many people are standing there going, but I just dropped it and it broke. And the amount of people who are in there for dumb stuff. I used to work at the Apple store as a genius. And the amount of tedious stuff that people would bring in. There's I mean, we're quite isolated in this community because we follow everything to the T, where your general muggle is just like, oh, I update, I message.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, the reality is that most people on iOS just use it to make calls and send emails and play Candy Crush.
Oh, absolutely. But most people simply don't care. That's the weird thing about all this stuff is most people could not give a rat's ass about Facebook or Apple or what they choose to do. They're just like, can I play Candy Crush? Will this impact my time in the house at all? No? Okay, cool. I'll just move on with my life. So, yeah, it's interesting that we get very, very fired up and very amped up about these things. But do you reckon many people are walking around going, I can't, oh no, what about when they deprecate inter-app audio? That's going to be the worst day of my life. It's like, they don't know that this is capable. They don't know what's going on.
The same people have an Alexa in their house. They're listening to everything they say,
I was chatting to you. It was funny. I was chatting to you folks. And for those that are on the Clubhouse, I know many of you come and hang out on Clubhouse. We'll talk about it later, in fact, because many may not know what that is. But it's an audio social app. And the cool thing about it is that you don't have any typing, you don't have any video, you don't have any messages, you don't have any posts or pictures or anything like that. It is just audio. So you go in there and you chat to people. So I'm chatting to people on Clubhouse the other day. And here in Australia, at the moment, with the whole C word stuff, you have to check in to go to a venue. So when I go into a place to buy my lunch, I have to scan a QR code and check in. Now, some people have lost their ever-loving minds over this to the point where they refuse to do that. But the thing is, if you refuse to do it, you have to give your name and mobile number. So people that are concerned about their privacy will not use a secure app that sends it to a secure server. Actually, doesn't even. It just stores it on your app, and then it's only when you need to do contact tracing that data gets released, and you have to choose to do that. Instead, they're writing on a piece of paper for everyone to see, Joe Smith, 04143. And I'm like, really? I think you're missing the point. You're so distrustful. It's like people that hand their credit card to a waiter at a restaurant and they bugger off with it to do goodness knows what, but they won't punch their credit card number into PayPal to make a donation to our wonderful channels because they don't trust the machine. It's like anything that's a machine must be bad. Anything that's a human must be good. Let me tell you, it's the humans that program the machines to be dodgy. If when it's the Terminator, it's Judgment Day, and the machines are programming the machines, they're going to be a lot more efficient at it than what we are as humans. They'll have it down.
Can't wait for that day.
Boomer Base Beep here says, yeah, it is funny when you buy, because that's the thing. What they don't do is they don't. I actually want more tracking because I want it to know that when I then go to eBay and buy that thing and get it sent to me, that it stops advertising it, because the amount of times that you buy something and then you get an ad for that same thing, they're like, "Are you still interested in this?" I'm like, "I bought it. Don't show me an ad."
But Pete, I'm being tracked. Let me put my GPS in my pocket and go out. I'm being tracked. Like, people will know about me. Anyway, let me just put my constant GPS that sits by my head while I'm asleep. Oh my God, it's so infuriating watching people get so worked up over privacy. And they're virtually carrying a beeper, like, here I am, that's broadcasting everywhere to wherever they are, to each cell tower.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're in a cave with a tinfoil hat, you're probably being tracked. So we just
always
just have to accept it. What else do we have here? I wanted to ask you a question here. We've got a few more topics to go, then we'll do a little bit of our motivation thing, and then you're going to get a glimpse into Jade's mind as we look at our hidden gems. So Jade's going to share some of her favourite YouTube channels, and this could be interesting. But I got a question this week. So, and it happens a lot. Look, I'm not going to get on my high horse or my soapbox because I honestly don't care what you use. If you use a PC or you use a Mac, or if you use an iOS device, it's fine. I happen to choose iOS and I like using an iOS device. But I did watch a video this week where they talked about the new iPad Pro and they compared buying a MacBook Pro, like the M1 MacBook Pro, to an iPad Pro with the keyboard and with then you have to get the keyboard, you have to get a Thunderbolt dongle, you have to get all of the peripherals for it to actually turn it into a laptop, basically. But their point was, if you were doing things that require a computer, why would you not just use a computer? Why would you use an iOS device? So it did get me thinking, and I've got my views, but why is it? And you made a comment as well on your show recently where you said you don't want to use Logic on the Mac necessarily, but you would use it on an iPad. Why would you say that is?
Well, I guess when I got into iOS, so I had the first iPhone, and then I got the iPhone 3G here in Australia, and so I started making music on there, and I just started an album, so I'm just giving you a bit of backstory.
Yep.
And the last album I did on a computer was on Pro Tools in my little home studio, and look, I'm not saying I'm a clairvoyant or anything like that, but I did see the future. This slab of glass has the potential to be amazing. And it has been. It's proven to be exactly that. Yep. And as soon as the iPad came out and GarageBand appeared, definitely just confirmed that these devices were not going to be consumption devices. Because when the iPad first came out, I remember so many pundits, and I hate pundits because they're mostly wrong all the time, saying the iPad is nothing more than a giant iPhone and it's just for consumption and watching movies. And wank, absolute wank. These people can't see past their last article that they write, unfortunately, for clicks. Yep. So as time's got on, it's been exactly that. And now the iPad Pro, it's amazing. If you still don't look at it now and just go, good Lord, it's a piece of glass, and I can make an album on it. I can make competitive music with it, film everything I want. I can paint on it. I can do everything. So as you know, we both bought M1 Mac Minis, and I'm extremely happy with my M1 Mac Mini. I love it. I only use it for menial stuff so far. I have Logic and GarageBand on it. I have tried to make some music on it successfully, so there's no problem there. But going back to a mouse situation, even though I use a mouse now on my iPad, but I use a touchpad with my Magic Keyboard, so it's a totally different experience. And it's got to the point now where I was going back to a computer, I kept reaching. And now when I use, I've got so used to the Magic Keyboard that I have one hand on the touchpad and one hand to reach. So I found with the Mac, I'm constantly reaching. So I found it incredibly hard to actually reverse. And it took me no time to adjust to an iOS device. No time at all. It was so intuitive. But going back to the old system of, keyboard and mouse, it's just not working for me. So I think that is why I want Logic so much, to be able to have all that power, one hand on my touchpad and one to the screen. You really, and have that pencil above to grab that pencil. I've got so attached to this pencil. To just write notes, anything like that, to draw pictures. Like when I did my Metheus video clip, I storyboarded it by drawing everything. I can't do that on a computer. So iOS just... it's perfect for me.
Yeah.
And not saying that, look, you do what you do. I love PC stuff too. I have so many doors sitting on my PC because I have a Mac and a PC. I have a really high-end gaming laptop. You can make incredible music on it. And, if I had to, I can go and sit on there and do that. But I don't have to, so I'm going to stick with this, and it's just going to get better and better. So that's why I continue to do iOS music, and that's why I'm so firmly behind giving us Logic, because Audio Pro is the closest thing we've got. Cubase is the closest thing we've got. We really need something more than GarageBand, because they've made it evident they're not going to guzz it up anymore and make it... They're not going to give us the features we want for it, so they have to give us that. Who knows? What if they combine the two? People aren't even talking about that. What if GarageBand becomes Logic GarageBand in one? There's another possibility.
We talked about that recently, because people forget that there are some features that are only in particular hardware. So Alchemy Synth, like there's the exact same version of GarageBand was run for a while. It's changed now because you need iOS 13 at least to run the latest version of GarageBand. But for a while there, if you had older hardware, you didn't get Alchemy Synth. But if you had the hardware that could handle it, you could. So could there be are we thinking in-app purchase? Are we thinking that you could update, you could get something? Because they did that as well. You used to be able to add loops, and they used to be, they dabbled in in-app purchases early on. So maybe that is the way they go. Maybe iMovie becomes iMovie Pro with additional features, and instead of Final Cut, and then maybe GarageBand becomes GarageBand Pro if you do the Pro update, and then they can just have the one platform with the Pro features. It's an interesting one. I'm going to clip this and come back, and we're going to be like, oh, we predicted it. If you predict enough things, it's like what we talk about music. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you just throw out hot take after hot take, eventually you'll be right. It's what a lot of people in politics do. They just make 10 statements, and as long as one of them is right, they can look back and go, see, we got it right. Exactly.
Pete, why do you use iOS for music?
Very similar reasons. I came from Cakewalk and Reaper on the PC, and I loved creating music, but I hated the workflow and I hated the user interface. It got in my way. It restricted my creativity, and it got in the way. I spent more time setting up track matrices and templates and trying to work out how to add plugins and how to add particular tracks. When I got my first, not my first, what was my first iPad? When I realized that GarageBand was on iPad and then iPhone, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I played around with it. I'm like, oh, but I can only really record an 8-bar loop. I had the same thing that I think most of us did when you grabbed it. You're like, this is just a toy for 8-bar loops. But then it wasn't until I thought, this looks like it actually has some potential, and dove into it, that I realized that it was everything I wanted it to be. As soon as I worked out I could plug in a guitar, I could plug in a mic, I could actually record like I could in Reaper, but instead of having to turn on my PC and my audio interface and plug things in and get things set up and queue up all the tracks and set everything, I could just go, new project, microphone, vocal, and start singing. And then if I wanted a drum, I'd just go drummer, Anders, heavy rock, go. And it would just add it, and it removed that barrier. And I think that's what a lot of people that talk to me about iOS versus PC or Mac say, is that they got overwhelmed. There's too many options, because a lot of this software designed for Mac and PC, and Vortex mentioned it here, that Cubase is like 100 times easier to use than Cubase. And even GarageBand on iOS, you just tap it and you're in there recording because you're touching the screen and you're touching the instruments. The first time I used GarageBand on Mac, I think you were there in the live stream, it was quite comical because I had no idea where to go. I'm just like, I've just got this blank screen. I'm like, where do I go? How do I start a new track? You get there eventually, but the difference there is that, and I think it all comes down to UI. It comes down to the user interface. And I think the touchscreen devices, because of the real estate that they have, or the lack of real estate, and because they're an interactive touch experience, they've had to work much harder to make sure that the user interface is there, which means big buttons, which means bold things that you need to tap for when you need to do things. Desktop software often hides behind the fact that we've got all these features, but all the menus that you have to go through, like Reaper is great, but to get to certain things, you have to go to a menu, turn it on in the customized settings, and that will add a button to your toolbar that's already got 20 buttons. And then you have to find that little tiny button. And once you get into the workflow, it's fine. But when you're starting out, to me, it's just a massive barrier to entry, and a lot of people that are creating music in iOS wouldn't have had the fortitude to push through that barrier of getting into a PC or a Mac. That's my view anyway.
Totally. I feel more connected to the whatever I'm creating with an iOS device. I feel like I'm more entwined with it, that I'm actually a part of it and touching it and being able to manipulate things with my hands. That's another, I think that's such a undervalued thing with iOS, that there is that physical touch, and humans love physical touch. I think it's the one thing Steve Jobs was really on. And, I know he said, there'll never be a pencil. And it's great that there is an option for that. But just... we all love to be held and be intimate with each other, and to the whole touch of iOS is that intimacy. I mean, it's not anything like Together in Electric Dreams. That would be weird. But did I just reference a really bad 80s movie? I did.
We'll always be together, together in electric dreams. Oh, so I hope that wasn't good enough to get a copyright claim, Jade.
It was a horrible film, but a catchy song. But yeah, look, it's the intimacy of being able to touch it and hold it with you. Yeah, you can even. There's been times where I've hugged my iPad and gone, "Oh God, you're so cool." But here's another thing too. Apple removed music memos, right? And we were all a bit like, "Oh, the sky is falling." Think about it this way, though. Apple have plans. There's normally a rhyme and a reason why they're removing these things. Is this that more of a point in the direction that Logic is coming, and GarageBand will replace audio memos as that stepping stone to create something simple and then open up in Logic on your iOS device, just like you can do on Mac? It just makes sense.
Yep. No, I agree. And we say all that, and then I always say this at the end of it, which is, you do you. Like, whatever works for you.
Exactly.
If you love using Cubase on a PC or Reaper on a PC, go your heart. If you're creating good music and it would actually damage your workflow to change it and go mobile, don't go mobile, and vice versa. And if you want a laptop, if you really want that tactile feedback you get from a mouse and a keyboard, buy a laptop and use a mouse and a keyboard. Whatever's going to help you make the best music. I'm completely agnostic when it comes to platform or software. Even though people think I'm an Apple fanboy and I'm a GarageBand fanboy, I honestly couldn't care less. I just have found what I like, and I know many people in the community are like me. But there's many people in the community that aren't, that are using other things, and I find that's cool. Like, the fact that we have the choice of what to use is pretty amazing. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah. I don't care what you use, just support each other. Whatever you use. Just build people up and encourage people to create. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what you use. It doesn't matter what toilet paper you use or what you. But if it makes you happy, use it. If you use the cheap stuff and it's scratchy, that's cool. If you use the soft stuff, that's cool too. Whatever floats your boat. Just
get to toilet paper. Oh, you're in Melbourne. You're just thinking about toilet paper because you can't really buy any.
I'm in lockdown, Pete. I'm in lockdown. I'm losing the plot here. I need some toilet paper. I need to go out.
I need to go and buy 17 rolls. Oh my God. Like, I won't go off on a tangent, but yeah, seriously, people, don't buy the toilet paper. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. You're not going to be crapping anymore just because you're in lockdown. Anyway, let it go. Yeah. But not too much because you'll run out of toilet paper. We'll jump into our midpoint motivation, which is very relevant to that whole thing you were just talking about there with supporting each other in a moment. We've got some new folks. We've got GB Craw has come on in. We've got Sion has jumped in here. Oh, we're moving around. We're moving around to different environments.
I know I wanted to add one, but I don't have a premium account, so it wouldn't let me add a new one. I wanted to add a whole bunch of toilet paper rolls behind me.
Ah, there you go. Yes, that would be cool. Desolate Mornings jumped on in. Hello to you. I hope you're doing well. And anyone else? The Metalhead Hippie. There you go. What have I come into? Yes.
Boom.
If you are confused, boom. If you are confused, like Hippie maybe, and Aaron Johnson, hello to you. If you are confused, Jade has I sent her a photo of my studio, and she is green screening on in. So sorry to break the illusion and destroy the magic, but yeah. Or what we should have said is we actually recorded this and we painstakingly scripted it, but in the exact same spot, and then we just put the two videos together and we're playing them at the same time. So if we talk over each other, that's why that's happening.
Don't lie, Pete. We're in an alternative dimension, right? And 1.21.
Yep. That's right.
Thanks,
Jade's
thanks,
in
Professor.
the past. Or Jade just is getting a bit single white female on me, and she's actually just bought the exact same gear.
Exactly.
She's got the same couch, the same curtain, the same gear behind
Pete
her.
actually lives in my house, folks.
I'm trapped in another room in her house that she's made look like my room. Help.
In my dungeon.
Send help. Hello to Cleggy as well. Hope you're doing well, Cleggy. Hope you're getting out and playing as well over there in the UK. I can't remember exactly where in the UK you are, Cleggy, but hello, and hello to Huska do, and Thomas Gillane. Thomas, do you like stories?
Thomas, let me read your story. My name is Thomas.
Thomas, if Tom Rochelle, if you can put Thomas Gillane, if you don't know, has he's a musician, and he's been on the channel, on Jade's channel, and been interviewed, and we know him, we love him. He also has another channel he started where he reads stories, and he has the most engaging voice that I've ever come across. So let's get get my hippie on. Let's get over there and sub him up because it's really cool. So if Thomas Rochelle can find Thomas Gillane's story thing and throw that in, that would be cool, because I want that good. He doesn't want it. No. Yes. No. We're gonna get people over there listening to your stories, Thomas. Sorry, mate. It's gonna happen. All right. Let's move into. We're at the midpoint. Would you believe we've been yammering for over an hour now? So it's our midpoint motivation. And here's what I want to talk about here today, Jade. We're not going to get into specifics here because we're not going to give the people the airtime. But let's just say that you and I have both had our fair share of people that don't particularly like us or like what we do, and have left comments to reflect their opinions on that. We've also had a lot of people that are wonderful people that tell us all the good things that we do. And to be honest, there's some people that I think love you so much, Jade, that you could just put out an hour of you just coughing and they'd probably go, man, this is a new type of metal. Like Jade's at the front of this new metal wave, cough metal. It's going to be it. But here's the thing I want to say. Like I actually really like Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a businessman, and he's a motivational dude. And he says something about sharing things online. He says you gotta block out the booze, but you also can't listen too much to the cheers. And I've sort of implemented this around this channel here, which is that there are people, like if you put something out, your mum's probably going to say, or your dad or your sister, or people that are super supportive of you, they're going to go, oh, that's wonderful, that's the best thing I've ever seen, the best thing I've ever heard. So if you're listening to that, you might think it's what I call the American Idol syndrome, where no one's actually given you the real deal. They've all just said, oh my God, you're so wonderful, your voice is amazing, because they don't want to offend you and they just want to be nice. And then you get the people that, regardless of what you do, you could win a Nobel Prize, Jade, and there'd still be some people that would say, Jade Starr, so I hate Jade Starr.
What an idiot.
Yeah, and it's so weird that it doesn't seem to actually have any bearing. And I think the good part about this is that it doesn't really have a bearing. It's not related to you or what you're doing or what you're doing. Like you can go in there and, like I say, some people will love what you do and some people will hate it before you've even started. Look at a video. I know Metalhead Hippie has the same problem. You have this problem. I have this problem. Sometimes you do a live show, there is a dislike on the video before you've started. Now, is that something that you should worry about? Should you be going, oh no, people really don't like my video because there's a dislike before I started? And it's the same for folks out there sharing music. It's the exact same thing, that you are going to get people that will say, whatever you do, they'll say they love it. They're not the people that are going to give you the most value. They're nice to have around because they give you, they buoy you up and make you feel good. That's cool. There's people that are going to say you suck regardless of what you do. They just need to be completely ignored. It's that fluffy 80% in the middle. That's who you really need to try and listen to, because they're the people that are going to listen to it, be subjective, and give you feedback that's going to help you improve and grow. That's my rant on this. What say you, Jade Starr?
Yeah, look, it's the same as got to look at it like Amazon reviews, really. If you see something that you want to buy,
yes.
Don't pay attention to the top reviews, because it's probably some idiot who's just from the company who's doing great reviews. Don't go to the bottom and read the people who are giving the bad reviews, because they've got an axe to grind and they probably live with their mum and they hate their life and whatever. Look for the middle reviews. Look for the people, because those are the people who are actually, giving an honest opinion, a well thought out opinion, and they're going to be people that you want to pay attention to. The negative stuff, the people clicking thumbs down and all that before a video starts, what are you going to do? You can't do anything about it. There's no point getting upset about it. The crazy people who tell you they're going to kill you and they want to murder you and stuff, come and find me. I'm waiting for you. Oh, if that's
Lock
what
it.
you want to do, like, I've got an axe waiting for you. No, but you know, it's
Escalated.
ridiculous. It escalated. It sure did.
Oh,
That's why I set that up, Pete. I was. Yes,
you've always got an axe to grind about something, Jade.
Oh, yes, let's keep going with this. That's excellent, Pete. We can go on forever. Stay for the shrimp.
Axolotls? No, I got nothing.
But honestly, like, you know, people say some really crazy things. Like, you know, I get some really crazy messages. You've just got to not get upset about them, put them in the bin, get rid of them, move on, and just keep doing what you're doing. Stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
As I say on my show, do the things that make you happy. Make those mistakes. Be honest about what you're doing. Hey, you know, just it's the same with reviewing apps and stuff like that. I look for apps that I think are going to be good and benefit people. If something's crap, I'm not going to put it on the show and then just crap on it. What's the point? Nobody gets anything out of it. You know, both me and you get people sending us things to say, hey, can you do this, please? And you say, you have to be straight up and say, look, I don't think it's going to fit in with my show. Because I don't think it'll benefit the people that I'm doing this for. I only show things that I think are going to be a benefit. It's the same with comments. You get this negativity and stuff. Is it benefiting you? Apparently it's a feature to let people like send you horrible things, but there's no benefits from it. So just put it in the bin and move on. You know?
And again, don't listen to what we're not saying here, which is that criticism is good and feedback is good. Like, I'm not talking about people that say there's a difference between you suck and I think you could probably EQ that vocal a little bit better. Like they're two very different comments. One can be ignored because it's not adding value, and the other one needs to be listened to because it is. So I'm not saying don't get called into the whole American Idol syndrome thing and think that your shit don't stink because you're doing the right thing all the time. Yeah, there may be some really valid feedback that's coming in there. But again, it's going to be in that middle, that fluffy, I don't know why I say it's fluffy, but that fluffy 80% is what is going to give you that. And that's why communities like yours, communities like the Facebook groups, Create, Record, Release, and the Awards group, and the GarageBand users group, the whole reason that and I know you're a moderator of some of those groups, I am as well, the reason that we are so vigilant about this is that what I don't want, you and I can handle this. We've been doing this for a long enough time that we're like, you know what, whatever. We know when people are just blowing off steam, they're having a really bad day, week, month, life, whatever. We just know, well, you know what, we just need to isolate ourselves from those sort of things. But there's some people that don't. And I've seen this happen to people where they share their first song and they just get destroyed in comments in a forum by strangers that are just going to be negative about anything anyway. And they take it to heart, not realizing it's not about them, it's about the other person. So if you are that person out there, I just want to say, do not change what you do. Do not, like you say, be true to yourself. Don't change your own behavior based on the random rantings of a person you don't even know. They're a stranger. Why would you listen to a stranger? Listen to the people you trust and the people that are going to do the right thing by you.
Go with your instinct. Yeah. We're becoming a race that's not following our instincts enough. We're getting led astray by noise. And your instincts, they're there for a reason. That carnal instinct to do things. You know, that pain, that feeling you get in your guts where, do I really want to do this? This is a situation somebody's offered me, and you get that gut feeling of like, I don't know. Normally, just don't do it. It's there for a reason. These things that happen in our bodies and the way we think, they're there for a reason. If people are coming in intentionally to crap all over you, you know, that's if you put up a song and say, hey, because this happens too. You put up a song sometimes in a group and say, here's this song. I do this a lot. If I put up a song in a group, I don't write, I'm looking for feedback. Yeah. If I do write, I'm looking for feedback, then I am. But if I don't write that, I'm not. I'm just putting it out there to say, have a listen. Right? But people tend to like pile on and go, I think you should do this. I'm like, well, I'm not actually asking for your opinion on that. Like, be confident in what you're actually seeking if you're putting that stuff out there. And again, like with the negative comments, I'm not going to bring it up on a show. I'm not going to sit there and go, hey, this person said this and this. It's the equivalent of feeding the trolls. You just deal with it and move on and let them fester. Because there's this great thing on YouTube that you can just block people from your channel and they sit there and type away and type away and type away for every episode going on and nobody can see it. So have fun with that.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And the one thing I say about all this stuff at the end of the day is just stop it. Because I have genuine empathy, because I think it would be horrible to actually be that way, because people don't like. I hate to use the word normal, but think about the sort of person that you have to be to spend your time watching something you don't like and then making and posting negative comments about it, instead of finding something you do like, moving on and finding something that you engage with. Like that's next level, that you're going to all that effort to try and bring someone else down and put yourself through that of watching something that you then say, I really don't like this. Don't like it. Scroll past, move on, be done.
But look, there is an exception to that. I do follow quite a few hot tub girls on Twitch. Not because I like the content. I like sitting there from my chair going, it's not even entertaining. Who's paying for this?
There is a certain element of that.
I do get off on that. I never type anything in the chat. I don't type anything like, you're horrible. I do it in my own space going, why are people watching this? Why are they giving this person money? They're in a hot tub in their garage. It's a blow-up hot tub.
Well,
she's got a camera in reverse.
I mean, the fact that Gogglebox existed is still a TV show that people actually watch tells you that people are out there hate watching a whole lot of stuff because just for the lols. But we'll move on from there. But I wanted to, because I didn't know where we're going with hot tub girls. I'm like, that took a quick turn.
It's been a big thing on Twitch at the moment. If it's inappropriate content, and Twitch started taking away their advertising and stuff, and then they created a new category and all this stuff because people were going, why is it in my feed? And it's like, well, they're not getting naked. Who cares? It's not in. It has no value.
Not only
let them
level.
do it. Yeah, just let them do it.
Speaking of things that you like, and hopefully these are things that you actually like, well, that you're not just watching to wonder about why they exist, but things that you do actually like. We've got some hidden gems. We do a hidden gem section on the show. It's normally my stuff, but when I have a guest, I ask them to provide their hidden gems. So we're going to go through these. And Tom, you're going to be quick on the trigger there, mate, to find these and put the link there. You don't have to. We'll get people to search for them. But we'll jump in here to the first one. And this is, and I haven't heard of many of these, to be honest, so I'm going to learn along with you. But what is Sequoia Sounds? This looks interesting. What's going on here?
Sequoia Sounds is this amazing pianist, right? And he takes, to watch him, his hands play.
Okay.
Pianist, yes, I said it correctly. I am a rude scholar. As you can see from some of the songs there, he takes really full-on, like, hard songs like Zappa, Mr. Bungle, Radiohead, Faith No More, Tomahawk. I mean, he does Captain Beefheart, and he converts these really complex songs, and he plays it all on piano. These multi-part songs. And I did my Faith No More show the other day, yesterday, my Mike Patton tribute, and I used a bunch of his piano tracks because I've been in contact with him for quite a long time, and done some vocals to some of these tracks, just messing around. And there's these videos here where you can see his hands. To see this guy's hands move and do these incredibly, complex songs just as one person. The man is an absolute magician, one of the most incredible pianists I've ever seen on the internet. And yeah, if you're into stuff like Radiohead or anything that's really complex music, you'll probably find something that you like if you're into obscure music. And he covers it. Dead Can Dance, there's some really great stuff there. Super talented, and hardly any subscribers. Just baffling.
Yeah, well, this just got one more and probably several more from you sharing this, because I love the just piano-based music, and I think when you can, because the piano is a wonderful instrument in that it's one of the few instruments that is actually multifaceted in that you can play multiple notes. Like it's not like most instruments where you can play a guitar. Obviously, you can play up to 6 notes at once. Piano, you can play 88 notes at once if you've got long enough arms. But it's just so cool when you see arrangements, and it's what we were saying at the start, when you can simplify an arrangement down to like one instrument, but still make it sound full and still make it sound amazing. That is super cool.
see his hands. He plays like stuff where he goes over his hands and stuff.
Yeah.
It
Those
looks like
crossovers.
spiders. I can't say spiders. If you
Spiders! That's my favourite Desir song. Sorry,
Kev, don't be watching this.
I think I just added to my troll list. It's going to be Kev in there just saying, Pete, if you say spiders one more effing time.
Yeah, look, Sequoia Sounds is amazing, and he's a really cool guy. There's an interview on his channel as well that you can check out. Absolutely humble as pie, and I think more people should be checking him out because he if you're into obscure music, I mean, he does like death metal stuff and turns it into piano, and it's even better than sometimes the original artist. Lovely stuff.
Very good. Derek Smith, hello to you, by the way. Derek Smith lurking there in the chat. Josh Cohen, yeah. I shared a very cool Josh Cohen video where he did... he's just phenomenal. Like, he did an amazing thing the other day where he's playing, like, all the different feelings, and he's playing one song, but he's moving through all these feelings. And, yeah, I got mad respect for pianists who can handle their instrument.
I got you saying it now. Penis forever. Get some penis into you, everybody.
This video doesn't get... I don't know what we're going to get flagged for here today, but
we're not
something
saying
interesting
wrong.
from YouTube. No.
The correct pronunciation.
It is the correct pronunciation. What else have we got here? I've heard you talk about this channel before, but I'm still not subscribed. So you have to convince me why I should subscribe to Red Letter Media.
Yes. So a lot of the things on here aren't always music because I am of the opinion will always be, hey, if you're just watching music constantly and how to do things on YouTube, then you're not exercising your brain enough. You need to take in lots of things, lots of interesting things. To what's great about having a variety of YouTube channels that are right across the board is it helps you with writing lyrics. It helps you to create things to go into other worlds. And what's great about Red Letter Media is. So they review movies. They take a look at really terrible movies as well. They have like the best of the worst where they take these awful instructional videos and fitness videos and they have these Black Spine episodes where they have a whole bunch of videos that have no labels on them and you don't know what you're going to get. Oh, wow. They review contemporary movies. Plus, they're also directors in their own right, and they have a film called Space Cop Out, which is utterly hilarious. They are the kings of the long pause humor, where there's that uncomfortable moment of somebody just opening a fridge for 10 minutes. They are the masters of that. They're really funny, really witty, very creative, and they give really hardcore, honest reviews of movies. If you really want to get a review these days, you can't go past Red Letter Media. They came to fame from their reviews of the Star Wars prequels. If you haven't seen them, go and watch the three Star Wars prequels. I think each one goes for about an hour and a half. And it's done by this character they do called Mr. Plinkett. And the opening line is, I went and saw Phantom Menace, and it was more disappointing than my drug addict son. It is so dark, the humor. It's very, very funny. They're very, very clever guys. And, you get a lot from it too. Like, they build their own sets and stuff. So they are all into filmmaking, and they don't ram their talent down your throat. They treat you like a... They're very human. That's what I love about it, and they're hilarious. So, and who doesn't need a good laugh in these times?
In these troubled times, we all need a good laugh. No, I agree. Well, Russ is off. He's going to go watch some now and leave the show. So, there's the problem doing this is we like people. The more interesting the stuff that we show, the more people are just going to leave and go, oh, there you go. And yeah, thank you to Tom, by the way, Tom, who is putting his fast, his speed. We call him Fast Fingers Rochelle. No one calls him that. But yeah, he gets the links up there, and it is a entertaining and interesting channel. So there you go. I've subscribed now, and I noticed some Simpsons stuff in there too. I do love me the Simpsons, so I'll be watching that one after the show myself. What have we got to next? Oh, this one looks interesting. Okay, I've heard you talk about this before. I won't even try and pronounce. You can pronounce the name for me, but who is this, and why does he have a snake?
Brian Barczyk. Brian Barczyk is a snake breeder. He used to be on I think it was a National Geographic or one of the things, and he had a show called Snake Bites where he used to just take snakes and let them bite him. It was pretty crazy stuff. A lot of blood back in the day. Jeez. But he's matured since, and he still has a snake breeding organization, but he's built from the ground up this little place called the Reptarium. And if you go through his videos and his playlists, it shows how he's built this small little shop and created these amazing enclosures for snakes. He loves reptiles. He loves them so much. He's got massive giant snakes. He does a daily show every day, so I watch it every morning. He cuts snake eggs. He's even got a sloth, which is cool. He went out and got a sloth, and they built a cage for the sloth, and he's just. I think what I love about Brian is his energy is so positive, right? And he opens a show every day with like, I hope you're doing well. Tell somebody, they're fantastic, and I used to be quite afraid of snakes, and what I've got from watching it is a real appreciation of how amazing snakes are, and they are not the things that we're told to fear. If anything, like spiders as well, they don't want any part of us. But if you treat them with respect, and the other thing I love about it too is with lizards and stuff, he's been ball training snakes with a little ball on a stick, so when they see the ball, they know it's time to feed, and you can actually see their brains ticking over and thinking about things. I think it's really incredible to see animals. He's the new Steve Irwin to me, but he's just so positive, and I really love positive people who can take something like reptiles, which for most people are utterly scared. And I can see Boomer Bass meme and Desolate Morning. Everybody's scared of snakes, but to be able to have such positivity, and he's had some really hard times too, and he did an episode last year where he was going through some severe depression, and he just threw it all out there and cried in front of the camera, and it was absolutely real. And I just love channels like that. It doesn't matter the content. If the person's real and they're just giving everything, I'm going to subscribe. I don't care even if I don't know anything about it. I want to know who this person is. I want to know everything about them. And Brian Barczyk he's a decent human being.
And that it is so important. It's so often overlooked. And I've thought about this a lot in the last couple of weeks, that the people I engage with and the channels I watch and the podcasts I listen to, it's people that share a bit about themselves. So people that watch this channel know a bit about me. And look, if you want to be completely closed book and that's your mode, that's totally cool too. Like, I'm not telling anyone that they have to be different, but people that are comfortable enough to open up, I think it creates such a good, engaging relationship. Like, people know. I make the joke that, I do this full time, and, I do help me keep the lights on, have to pay the bills and feed the kids and all that sort of thing. And people know I have a dog called Basil, and all these little things that don't really matter. They're nothing to do with music, but they are. At the same time, they are, because they're to do with me. Music is a personal thing. This is my personal journey. And the more of that, like, I'm not going to tell you my most intimate thoughts and secrets, but the more of myself I share, the more successful I seem to be. And channels like this seem to be the same sort of thing. It's the more you can actually engage and, I guess, just get an insight into a person, and the more they're sharing, then the better it is. So I dig that. And the other thing you might notice is that a lot of these people, even though they might be these overnight successes, check it out, been around since 2013. So it's not like he hasn't been grinding it out for a long time, but obviously he's been changing over time, trying new things and building it. And if we have a look at his graph here,
subs.
Yeah, take a look at this, because with the power of TubeBuddy, we can actually look behind the scenes. He's had a massive growth just recently. So he's getting 1.2 million views in a day there. Yeah. And if you look at his subscriber count there, he's adding thousands of subscribers every day. So
he was losing a whole lot too, as he was edging up to 3.3 million.
Yeah,
and he was talking about it honestly, saying, what do you guys want me to do? What do you want me to change? I can see people, they're not following. He's constantly trying to evolve the content and trying to create, it's like he's got the Snake Army now with a whole bunch of merch. It's really engaging, and that's, I totally agree, Pete. I will watch a channel sometimes, and it's a new channel, just to watch maybe some tips on an iOS app or something like that. And if that person doesn't pop with me, they're just like, I'm out of here. If they got no music, that's my biggest pet peeve. Somebody who's like, hi, I'm a music channel, but I've got no music to show you. I'm like, I'm out of here. How can you be a music channel with no music, dude? Like, show us what you can do.
I love snakes. I've never seen a snake or touched a snake, but I'm going to do a snake channel because
I love snakes. Here's a ham sandwich. Not going to work.
And it is so true. Who was? Oh, it was Russ, of course. Yeah, definitely some snakes on YouTube. It's like, yes, those sort of snakes that are selling courses valued at $997 for just $47. All you have to do is sell me all your private information and then be bugged by me on a monthly basis for the rest of your life. Yes, but you have to do it in the next 24 hours because apparently digital products are actually time sensitive and limited in some way, which they're not. Anyway, I'll get on my high horse if we go too far down that track. Yeah, so there are some snakes, but they're a different kind.
Well, like snakes.
There you go. Joe's in. She likes snakes. She subscribed. So there you go. 3.5719 million version will be Joe. There you go. You get to add to that. Let's go to the next one. Oh, God. Okay. Pre-warning. If you don't like snakes, you possibly don't like spiders either. So maybe just hit pause for about 3 minutes and then come on back because even the screen here may be a trigger for some folks. So Dave's little beasties. What are we looking at here apart from obviously spiders?
I love spiders, all right? I've always loved spiders. I live in Australia where spiders are a part of life. I have one in my room, which is about the size of my hand, a huntsman spider. In Australia, huntsman spiders, they can bite you, but they're definitely not venomous or anything like that. They don't want to hurt you. We leave them in our house normally in Australia. Why? Because they keep the bugs out. And they're a natural deterrent for bugs. And it gets hot in here in Australia, so if you've got windows open, you tend to get things in. Having a spider in your house is a great thing. This is my opinion. And I don't begrudge anybody who dislikes spiders. But, again, with snakes, they're afraid of you. Spiders are afraid of you. They don't want to deal with you. So Dave's little beasties is only somebody I've come across recently. I do watch a whole lot of other spider videos. But what I found about this guy is he's really thorough. He knows what he's talking about. He has some fantastic breeds of spiders, and he's actually been breeding them. And I love watching the spider breeding videos where they put two in a cage, and the female's normally much bigger, and the male has to slowly get up and start drumming. I don't know if people know how spiders mate, but they drum their legs to let the female know, and then the female drums back, and then the male has to get up and lift the female's legs and get under the fangs. And he's got to do his business and then quickly get out before she digs her fangs in and kills him. It's just intriguing to watch. And I just love this guy's channel. He makes really fantastic enclosures. And I think what's beautiful, again, much like Brian Barczyk, he ends the video with, gently does it, love your spiders. And he's always so gentle with them. And a lot of other spider channels, they love the whole clickbait stuff of poking the spiders to get them to rear up. Where this guy tries to just do everything calm and gently brush their legs. He doesn't want them to react and get angry. Because, like anything, nobody likes to be stressed. Especially spiders, right? And I don't want to stress spiders either, right? Because I don't want to get bitten by them. But it has encouraged me to. I'm looking at getting a tarantula very soon. I've got my eye on a baboon tarantula, quite a dangerous one as well, because they interest me. And look, it's something that this relaxes me. And you know, there are odd things that we all watch that relax us, and I love watching these creatures and learning about them and understanding what is in the world around me. So, I just really love spiders. And I love this channel. This man, again, goes back to that thing, Pete. Yep. Really gentle, kind human being and with an engaging personality. And that sells it for me.
Yeah, and again, if you're just joining us and you're wondering, you know, isn't this a creator show? Isn't this about music? Yeah, but here's the thing. Seeing how people put together their YouTube channels, how they present information, and how they engage with an audience, that's what we do as creators. Everything in the creative space, if you are sharing it with other people, which most of us are, it's all about how you engage with other people and how you brand yourself and how you present yourself and how you present your content. I learned so much. Like I like The Simpsons. I listen to the Simpsons podcast, and I learned about how they do that. I learned how to do Patreon because I was a patron. I became a patron of the Talking Simpsons podcast to learn about Patreon. And then I could utilize some of the information I got from there. I love hockey, so the Puck podcast is a great hockey podcast. And I love it because Doug and Eddie do something they call the off-ice report at the start of every podcast. Nothing to do with music, but I went, actually, that's really interesting. So I've started integrating some of that into what I do, where you start talking a little bit more about yourself. And people love it because people just want to know that you're a real human being and that you have feelings and thoughts and other things outside of music. Otherwise, you become so one-dimensional. Anyone can get up here and say the things about the music because, hey, you could look it up. You could go on and study other people's channels for a month and then just come out and go, yeah, I know everything about music now, and just present the information, but it's not engaging. And hopefully what Jade and I do, or what we try to do, is to be engaging and do things differently. By the way, why is there a frog there? Why is Kermit? Spider, frog.
Well, he's got a centipede there too, those big centipedes as well. So he does, that's why it says Beasties. So it's
okay, yeah, so it's not just, it's just, okay. I just think that Kermit was going to be
predominantly
like,
spiders. And he
why are there so many?
And he does do a lot of mating videos with Sydney funnel webs, which I find utterly scary.
Those things are deadly.
When you're watching two spiders bang and they've both got venom dripping from their fangs, that's some pretty serious sex right there.
That's some. I'm sorry, that's going to be the quote of the day. That's some pretty serious sex right there. That's going to be the quote of the day, but it's to do with spiders, so even weirder. Jade, the Metalhead Hippie has just bought himself a Studio Live Today t-shirt. So can we please get a boom for that? Yeah.
Boom. Head over to Pete's Studio Live Today. Sub him up. Boom.
There you go. Perfect.
Hippie.
That's a good hippie, and you can go to, I don't have it here, but if you do want to buy one, studiolivetoday.com/merch. I'm going to very quickly put the banner in there. Yeah, there you go. It's like I just prepared it earlier. Studiolivetoday.com/merch. Jade, you've started a gear guide now, just to take a quick detour here over on your channel. You've got merchandise available for sale as well. Is the best way to get to all that just to go to jadestar.com.au?
You can get there from there. There's a little how to app on iOS link, or you can go, I think it's gear.howtoapponIOS.com. And tomorrow I'm looking at this little beauty.
Speaking of
this
gear.
9-port USB Type-C multi-port hub from Sprint.
I need one.
Oh, it's lovely, lovely, lovely. Don't get hot, and it works a treat.
I was going to say, if it doesn't get hot, that's what I need, because the one I currently have here sits on top of my Mac Mini, and it is the only hot thing in my whole setup now, because everything else is pretty much fanless or doesn't spin or doesn't do anything, except this thing. For whatever reason, it heats up, especially if you plug drive in.
It comes with a lead, all right, so let's see. This was the one I had, and most of you will know this. This was my previous one, and so they all come with these incredibly short cables. This Sprint one comes with an 80 centimeter cable that's extremely flexible. Perfect. I can move my iPad around now, and this thing doesn't have to drag behind.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be on my gear guide after I do the show tomorrow, so it's really nice.
Most of your the genuine Apple ones have this, and a lot of your cable creation and stuff. They just don't give you enough cord, which sometimes you don't want all the cord, but just give you the option. Like, you can tie it up with a bit of Velcro if you don't need the cord, but I'd rather have more cord than like headphones. I'd rather have a big dangly curly cord here on my headphones than have to have them fly off my head, which has happened before.
So,
on several
in answer
occasions.
to Mark's question,
Mark has a question.
it's USB-C only, but they do have a Thunderbolt 1 on their store, so that's a good thing. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So this is just USB-C, not Thunderbolt, which is good for us that are rocking the older gear. But yeah, if you do want the Thunderbolt, if you're going to get the new M1 iPad or an M1 Mac and you want Thunderbolt, then there are other options there. All right, we got some more. I don't think we've covered them all. No, we've still got 4 more. We better get a move on here. See, this is what happens. We'll go back to the hidden gems, and we'll bring up the next one. Oh, you've told me about this before. What are we looking at here? Suspicious. This is where you're going to tell me to wear a tinfoil hat and that the moon landing didn't happen.
No, this is stuff I think which is information people really should pay attention. We live in a world of digital. We rely on digital content every day, and suspicious observers take advantage of the cameras that NASA have placed around the sun, which there are various cameras, and they monitor the sun each day. And if you don't know how the sun works, it has these coronal mass ejections which shoot out flames and CMEs, and this stuff heads towards Earth through space. It hits our atmosphere, and that's how we get the northern lights on our planet, and it affects our technology and it affects our health, because these are particles, strong radiation particles hitting our planet. And every day he does a video letting us know if there's any sunspots, and if we need to be aware that any CMEs or anything's heading to Earth, to be aware that your internet could go down that day. And he's spot on, because this is why they put the cameras up there. They didn't just put them up there for the sake of it. Yeah. It's just a really interesting site, because, again, the guy is very intelligent, and there's a lot of science stuff in there as well about outer space, and it's bite-sized videos each day, like 6 minutes kind of thing. And it's just another thing that I love to watch on a daily basis, to just, I don't know, keep my mind busy, because, I don't want to watch 24 hours a day how to do this and music, how to do that, because then I'll be doing nothing musically, and to have these things. And one of the Desir songs is kind of about the sun taking out all our electricity and all that, because it can happen. Like, this is a thing that could happen. We could get hit with this X-class solar flare, and I'll tell you, if it's big enough, it's going to wipe out all of the electronics on the Earth, and nobody will have internet. Nothing. Trust me, it can happen. So
I think,
be aware.
Look, it's not to fearmonger or anything, but we do have to realise that we are natural beings, and we are living on a spinning rock that only exists because we happen to be the exact correct distance from a giant star ball of flame. So, like when you're worrying about that one troll that leaves that one comment, maybe you just need to step back a bit and think about the fact that we are mere specks on the planet. And,
as Preston's written here too, we're all not prepared for another Carrington event. So back in the late 1800s, we had the Carrington event. There was no electricity. There was, none of this technology we had, but they had the telegraph. And when that hit, there was a massive S-class solar flare. All the power lines actually caught on fire, and people at the telegraph at the ends of the lines, their headphones caught on fire, and people literally got burned on their, that's going to happen. And it's only a matter of time. And I'm not trying to fearmonger, but it is good to, and at the same time, it's good to learn things. I love learning things, and I learn a lot from, because he talks about space weather and about how earthquakes. How he can actually. He's got an app out as well on iOS called Observers, and they actually predict earthquakes. And I don't know how many. It's so many times. It's like an 80% hit rate. I'll get a notification saying there's going to be an earthquake here today. An hour later, there's an earthquake. Yeah. It's amazing, and it's all connected to the sun, the way the solar flares hit us. I just find that stuff really interesting.
Love it. Very cool. It's something that I need to find. I need to find time to. It's just a matter of time. There's so much content. My biggest problem is working out what to watch and what to spend my time on, because because we live in the future, we're spoiled for this. Remember when there was 4 channels and VCRs? You'd have to record it onto tape if you wanted to watch something back, and now we're just I want to watch a thing, and what? It's not on Hulu. I have to go over to Netflix to find it. Oh no, it's terrible. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Speaking of worst things, Abandoned Explorer doesn't look like the worst thing. This looks like my kind of stuff. I love the abandoned culture. I love watching people go into abandoned places. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yeah, this guy's over the top. He actually even did a video where he went to Chernobyl and just this whole series of him at Chernobyl, risking himself with radiation. You'll see, I think, just down on that list, see this one in the middle second from that one there. It's a abandoned musician's time capsule.
Oh, wow.
House with all these instruments left in this house. There's just so many interesting things. And he's, again, super engaging guy, really intelligent. And he finds these really amazing things that I just find absolutely fascinating that are going on in the world. And we can get lost in all the negative shit that happens in the world. And there are people who are creating amazing content like this. And, we live in a world where we throw away TVs every year and everything's like, destructible. Yeah. It's garbage. And this really shows, it really puts into perspective just how wasteful and how much we move on from things that we still could be benefiting right now. And I think we all need to pay attention to that kind of stuff. Working with all this fancy technology that we have every day. We take it for granted that all this stuff has come before us. And there's that one there, Inside Chernobyl, the best bits 2019. I can't believe he went there. It's just,
yeah.
And there's another one, Abandoned Air.
The plane graveyard.
Graveyard, plane graveyard. Oh, I just love that stuff. Absolutely intriguing stuff. So yeah, there you go.
I'm down. I'm verified. There you go. And I do like. So yeah, he's been doing this since 2015. So he's had at least a YouTube channel since then. So that's the other thing. I want to prove that people. It's just he may have tried other things, and you go back. And one of the great things to go to a channel is to go back and sort their videos in reverse order and see their first videos. If you want to get inspired as a creator about improving, the same with music. Like I always say, listen to some of Billy Joel's earliest music. It was terrible. It took the dude like 15 years to write something decent. And it's the same with your creations. Like if you look at videos that I did, videos that Jade did, videos that everyone does, the early stuff, there's flaws, the camera's not right, it's blurry, it's choppy, the audio's crap. But then you learn over time. And you learn how to engage, you learn how to present better, and then you keep improving. So watching this stuff can actually be super interesting, but also super inspiring for learning about how to do things. Hello, Glenn Clark.
Look at Billy Field, Pete.
Yeah.
Look, I'll say, what's green and hangs on piano keys? Come on. One of Billy Field's bad habits. Bad habits, yeah. Can't help myself. Sorry.
Wow. Interesting. Hello, Glenn Clark. Sometimes the best thing to say is nothing at all. Just let it hang there with that uncomfortable silence humour that you were talking about.
Yeah, perfect.
Glenn Clark from across the ditch over there in New Zealand. Hope you're doing well for a quick visit during lunchtime.
Hey,
I hope you're having, I'm going to commit to it. I hope you're having some fish and chips. All right, that's all. I know, that's just so low-hanging fruit. Glenn's like, Pete, I send you my albums, I've been supporting you for years, and you throw that out on me. That's just unacceptable. There you go. A 100-year weather event that's causing a bit of flooding. New Zealand, Damn. Would you just stop it already? Like, you've had enough natural stuff going on over there.
Yeah, at least it's not an earthquake or anything like that. Jeez. Stay safe.
Oh, there you go.
This last one, at least the last one you're going to bring up, Pete,
yes.
is at least iOS kind of centric.
Oh, it is? Is it this one? Oh, yeah, Strange Parts. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it already. Instant subscribe. I love the name already, and I love the thumbnail, so I'm in. All right.
Again,
what's it all about?
Absolutely engaging. This guy drew to popularity. He's got 1.8 million subs. His video that just pulled everybody in was he built an iPhone from scratch. He lives in China.
Yes,
and
I
he
saw
went that. He went to all the Chinese markets and bought every individual piece to make his own iPhone, and it just blew up. It was his biggest video.
The iPhone blew up, or the video?
Well, but I think the iPhone blew up a couple of times while he was making it, so both. But then to top that, even better, you would love this video. When the iPhone 7 came out with no headphone jack, he did a video to insert a headphone jack into the iPhone 7. And he did it, and he got it working. Again, awesome. Super engaging, super high production, just a really great knowledge. And he does some really fantastic stuff. He's been to where they make pinball machines, factories where they make pinball machines, how they make RF chips and how they're using them in China at convenience stores. He's absolutely just really engaging stuff about technology. So, and he's been through a really hard time too because of COVID. He ended up having to go back to the US because he had to leave China, and now he's set up a whole new studio in the US. I think I'm a patron. Does he have a Patreon? I can't remember if I'm a Patreon or not.
Yeah, not sure.
I'm pretty sure he does. But look, he's yeah, I can't say much more. Just to see the man just source, and he can't even speak Chinese, Mandarin, and he still goes to all these shops, these markets, and he did a great episode on a vending machine supermarket where you just go in, there's no one who works there, and it's just full of vending machines with underwear, tennis balls. It's just a giant warehouse of vending machines. It's so creepy. It's really cool.
Fun. I love it.
Great channel. Yeah.
Very good, and again, looks like he's had some pretty explosive growth in recent times there.
Absolutely,
a lot of views going on there in recent times, and looks like he's also generating some subscriptions. So, no, he doesn't. It doesn't give me the data. It said no. He's denied. As you might have noticed, I'm looking at the about section of all these for a couple of reasons. You get to see how many total views they've had. You get to see when they started. So only 2017. It's only been at it for like 4 years. And one thing I would recommend here: make sure you got more in your description about your about section, because he could be having a whole bunch of keywords and things in here that are going to help more people find him. But look at me telling someone with 1.8 million subscribers how to improve his YouTube channel. What the ego on this guy? There you go. The trolls are right. I am a wanker, aren't I? Okay. That is cool. I love it. And Tom once again has put there. I'm pretty sure he does have a Patreon. I remember him mentioning that. So do support the creators that do put their time and effort into creating cool things, because it is very much worthwhile doing. Where are we at? We've got 10 minutes left. I'm glad we did that, because we didn't have to rush the hidden gems. They are good. What have we got left here in the... You know what? Let's finish off with a couple of things. We're going to talk about YouTube towards the end, because then we can talk about your channel and your growth over the last year as you've been pushing forward with How to App on iOS. But for folks who don't know, what is Clubhouse, and why should you join the shenanigans on Clubhouse, Jade?
All right, Clubhouse kicked off with something really promising: voice chat, no text, and kind of the way I'd describe it when I first joined was kind of like a 24-hour TED Talk going on with these fantastic rooms to get information from content creators or people within the business sectors or recording industry, music industry, a whole lot of different industries. A whole lot of big people joined, like Elon Musk, and we had, Kim.com, all these people come in. Mark Zuckerberg came and broke the server. Then we joined, me and you, Pete, and we were going into some rooms and it was all cool, but then very quickly we found out that there's a lot of wank going on about you can get 5,000 subscribers by following me, and people selling you the earth with very little to offer, but just follow them on Instagram. So yeah, there's a lot of fluff and a lot of guff, but what we have turned it into is a private community where we open a room pretty much every day with there's quite a core of us of probably 20 people that come in and out. We don't go to many of the other rooms, but we use it as a social network to catch up, like me, you, Doug, and Russ, and Gary Hubbs, and Tom Rochelle. There's a whole heap of us. We're in there chatting, and we've got to know each other as friends, hearing each other's voices and stuff. It's a really, really great way. Like Brad's in there, and I have an idea, and to collaborate. It's been fantastic. A whole lot of people have been able to collaborate with music. After a show, we normally pile in and we talk about the show, we talk about gear, we talk about apps. So it's a bit of a social thing, and we there's a bit of a bunch of inner jokes and stuff like that. That's what I get from Clubhouse. I don't get the whole vibe of going into those other rooms. I find it really pathetic, and that's what I take from it. It's fun.
It is, yeah, and it is. It is what it is, and it's not what it's not. But everything, it's the new hotness, and the same thing happens on every platform. So what happens is a platform is developed for a certain purpose, and in this case, as you said, the first few weeks were amazing. When I first joined, and then you first joined, it was literally like that, because it was just genuine people. There was no talk of sales and marketing and all this bollocks that's come in since. It was just people having conversations, and there were connections made, but they were organic connections between people that were doing the same sort of thing. So I met a bunch of cool people on there that I'm still in touch with now. Unfortunately, like what happened with Facebook, like what happened with Snapchat, with Instagram, with LinkedIn, with every platform, once the marketers come on board, once the salespeople, once the fake gurus and the shysters come on, it goes downhill fast. So yeah, there's still some good hidden gems in there to be found in terms of some cool rooms and some cool people, but you have to dig. The popular rooms run by the popular people that have lots of followers are usually how to make a 7-figure income with cryptocurrency or how to boost your sales by lying to people. They don't say it like that, but that's what they're basically saying. So yeah, if you don't like all the fake guru stuff that happens on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, and Twitter, you won't like all the fake guru stuff because it's amplified. Because it's new, it's amplified. But if you can push past that, and if you can find the right people and the right conversations, the actual technology is pretty cool. Really good quality audio. The reliability of the connections is pretty solid. And yeah, just having a multi-person audio chat. It kind of reminds me of like Yahoo chat from the 90s or like old school just audio where you don't have to worry about how you look. You don't have to worry about posting photos or anything else. You just talk and it's just about conversations. And then, yeah, like you say, a lot of collaborations. I know you and Kev do a lot of work on Clubhouse when you did that, when you had the Indigo Sunsets and Andy and Stu on the channel. You'd use Clubhouse to do a lot of the back and forth chatting because you can just jump on there, create a room and then ping someone and say, hey, you're free for a chat. And if they're not, no harm, no foul. You're not ringing them. You're not annoying them. But if they're around, they can just jump into the room and you can have a chat. So I think it works well for things like that. We will see what the future holds. They've just opened it up to Android now. I believe it's still invite only, if I recall. Yeah,
still invite
Android
only.
people
You have to use you have to give your phone number to somebody to be able to get an invite. That's the one thing. But, you know, it keeps the riffraff out, I guess, because a lot of people are scared of privacy, as we've talked about. And look, it's worth joining because you get to hear Russ fall asleep on the mic and snore for 2 hours. Yesterday I recorded it into Koala Sampler.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Welcome to my Ponzi scheme. Yeah, Preston, exactly right. Yep, join and hear Russ snoring. Absolutely. And if you haven't been bored by all of the random talk of NFTs, and I'm not going to even get started here today because, yeah, let's just say that false scarcity of digital products is my least favorite thing, and NFTs seem to be that. Someone can prove to me that they're not, and I'm sure I'll be proven wrong in the future when everyone's right about it and I'm wrong and whatever. I'm left behind, but I'm too old to worry about FOMO and all the other stuff. So yeah, come and see me when you've made your billions of dollars from NFTs and I'm the poor sucker in the corner. But geez, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah,
someone else had an amazing comment here that I wanted to talk on, but now I've lost it. But I think it was, yeah, there you go. Tom says the other platform. Exactly. So Twitter, I think, are now trying to get a Clubhouse-like thing. Facebook, I'm sure, will have an audio-only version. Yeah, they're going to jump on the bandwagon and audio-only will be everywhere, which is weird that the new things that we're getting now are removing features. And it's come back to, it's gone full circle here. We talked about this right at the front of the show, about simplicity is often the key. People don't always want more. They don't always want all the bells and the whistles. They want to be able to do one thing really well. It's like your music. If you've got a really nice vocal, really nice piano sound, those two things together, or a really nice acoustic guitar, that can often sound better than 20 tracks of virtual instruments and plugins. So it's the same with features like this. Audio only can be good.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, we are coming to the end. I did just want to touch one of the subjects I had here is just to talk about, because I know a lot of folks that watch this show are creators and they've got presences on YouTube as well as on other platforms, but for YouTube specifically, so for you as someone that's gone from I think around 500 subscribers to now over 1,500 in the last 12 months through your How to App on iOS show and basically transforming your channel from just a repository of like some of your videos and some random content to having a really clear plan and strategy around what you're doing. What was the biggest sort of aha moment that you had? Like if you had like maybe 3 things that you've learned or 3 tips that you had for people over your last year of going from where you were to where you are, what do you reckon those would be?
I think just be brave. Just follow your instincts, follow your guts, and you're going to be wrong. It's like I say on the show. I know it sounds like a throwaway catchphrase, but mistakes make you better. You will make mistakes. You make mistakes with everything you do, but it's how you identify those mistakes, how you react to them. That's really important, I think. And you know, going with your instincts too, because there's been times in the year that I've doubted myself, and I can go back and watch those shows and see that period or that week of shows where I'm really struggling because I'm not believing in myself. I'm starting to question why are people listening to me on this stuff? And then as soon as I shed that and go, hey, let's just do this and be as honest as I possibly can. There are some apps that I look at every day that are still way too confusing for me, like things like Drambo, and I put that app off for a long time. This is just a good example. I put it off and then finally was like, you know what? Everybody's struggling with this app. So I'm going to do a show about it where I'm going to struggle with it. And just put that out there and show, instead of me trying to show everybody how to master it, just show how to get one sound happening. Because that's enough. One sound gives you the confidence to move on to the next thing. And hey, this isn't so hard after all. I can do this. Look, it's been an incredibly hard slog. And you really have to commit everything. I'm coming up to my 300th episode next week. It's been a massive roller coaster ride. I have to admit, there are times when I'm flipping out in my guts about, is this the right thing to do? I'm in it for the long run. It's incredibly hard to keep up the momentum to keep creating shows, and even through the stuff I'm honest about on my show about my health, which is incredibly low. Even at the moment, I'm trying to get somebody to move into my house, and that's all happening while we're locked down. There's all this stuff that goes on in life, which is just compounding sometimes. What I have learned really about YouTube is it's definitely not about the amount of subscribers. It's about the quality of subscribers. Don't sit there and freak out over the analytics, because you'll just get bogged down in stupidity. I think it's all about just being honest and trying to be exactly who you are with the people that watch, and ultimately lift people up. That's been my goal all the way through this channel, was that I started the channel basically to get out of bed each day because I'm not well, and just, even though it's just from behind this green screen to here, that's all I started doing it for, was to get out of bed and have something to do that I felt like I was doing something important. And then very quickly it became not about me, it became about the people around. And I just love seeing people flourish and release music. And I know I cost people money sometimes, which is the one thing I hate. I wish everything was free, but I just want to give people options to be their best, and exactly what Glenn Clark has written there. The motto of the whole channel is "We all rise together," and I want to see people do their best stuff. Look, it's fantastic. I'm humbled by people who want to watch. It's amazing, and I thank everybody every day, the Patreons, all the people who've got involved, all the developers who've sent me stuff at such an early stage of doing YouTube, the people who've sent me hardware. I'm blown away that people trust me, and I'm incredibly humbled by it. But it's really hard work, and just keep at it, like anything, like making music. Just always come back and center yourself and remember why you're doing it. Don't lose sight of that, and you should succeed at it. And if you're thinking about doing a YouTube channel, just do it. Just do it, because it's a great documentation of how you grow as a person. Even though I don't really go back and watch my own videos because I'm horrified by that. But yeah, look, it's lovely. And I've met so many amazing people, and I thank you all for those who do come, and anybody who's not subscribed and wants to come over and have some fun. It'd be a pleasure to have you over.
Beautiful, well said and well spoken, and yeah, some nuggets of gold there. So I hope you all had your notepads out and were taking notes, because yeah, I still vividly recall bugging Jade on a regular basis. I'm like, because she would be in the Facebook groups and people would ask questions, and she started making little videos, tutorials to help people. I'm like, Jade, just do it, just bite the bullet, because you just demonstrating these apps is going to show people so much, and you showing how you do things is going to help people out so much. And I know that there's a community around you now that gets an awful lot of value from all of your information. And if you need to find all the things you can do, jadestarr.com.au, and how to app on iOS, you can go to the how to app section there. You've also got your shop there, which we talked about before, which is your store for buying all your music. There's also the gear guide on there. There's your merchandise. You can do it all there. jadestarr.com.au is your gateway to all of those things.
Plenty of stuff.
Plenty of stuff indeed. Well, that is going to do us for today. It has been a pleasure chatting as usual. It's been a pleasure having all of you folks here with us together as well, because we all do rise together, as many folks said in the chat there. And I want to thank Jade for being on the show, but also for telling me to do this show. Because as I said at the start, when we started doing the Creator Town Hall, I said, well, it's Jade's idea, so if it's successful, I'll just mention nothing. And if it's a failure, I can blame her for everything that's gone wrong.
Blame me. I love it.
Just blame Jade. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm sure we'll see you around. Oh, and the Metalhead Hippie does have a show coming up in an hour's time. So if you like this sort of stuff, if you like music, I'll throw that in the comments here. Can you give us a little reason? What would the hippie say if he was right now about his show?
Come over to the show, support the local artists. We got anything from bedroom artists to professional. Boom. Sub them up, give them some love, get over to the hippie show. Boom. There you go. That's my best hippie.
There you go. That was brilliant. And with no notice there that I had to do that. Thank you very much for being here, Jade. Thanks everyone for being here. As we say at the end of every show, please be kind to yourselves. It's a bit of self-love. Be kind to other people and the community around you, and keep creating, folks. We'll see you next